Uganda is one of the poorest nations in the world, with 37.7% of the population living on less than $1.25 a day. Despite making enormous progress in reducing the countrywide poverty incidence from 56% of the population in 1992 to 31% in 2005, poverty remains deep-rooted in the country's rural areas, which are home to more than 85% of Ugandans. Most people in rural areas of Uganda depend on farming as the main source of income, and 90% of all rural women work in the agriculture sector. In addition to agriculture work, rural women also have the responsibility of caretaking within their families. The average Ugandan woman spends 9 hours a day on domestic tasks such as preparing food and clothing, fetching water and firewood, and caring for the elderly, the sick as well as orphans, being extended obligations. To supplement their income, rural women within fishing communities may engage in small-scale entrepreneurial activities such as rearing and selling local breeds of animals. Nonetheless, because of their heavy workload, they have little time for these income-generating activities. The poor cannot support their children at school, and in most cases, girls drop out of school to help out in domestic work or to get married. Other girls engage in sex work. As a result, young women tend to have older and more sexually experienced partners, and this puts women at a disproportionate risk of getting affected by HIV, accounting for about 57% of all adults living with HIV.
Nti abaana bano bafunye nnyo akawuka olw'ensonga nti kabasiigibwa abantu abaki abakulu. Abaana bano olw'okuba nti abatamanyi, waliwo wano omuwala era omulala yava mu ssomero ne bamulimbalima ne bamuleeta nga tamanyi gy'alaga, kati ali kawuka ali ku ddagala, kawuka bba yafa. Abakyala bafuna okusoomoozebwa kunene eri abasajja nga tebabawadde byetaago bibamala waka. Kati abakyala bamu basalawo okwetunda ne babalimbalimba n'obusente obutono ddala ne bawaayo obulamu bwabwe. Olw'ensonga babba baabwe tebabalabirira mu ndabirira emala ate nga n'emirimu gyekalangana nagyo mitono ddala.
Comprised of 84 islands, of which 64 are habituated, the Ssese Islands occupy the northwestern corner of Africa's largest freshwater lake, Lake Victoria. The islands are part of Kalangala district in south-central Uganda, which does not have any territory on Uganda's mainland. This population is a highly mobile one, consisting mainly of fishermen chasing the sparse fish population. The communities are non-coherent, traditional family structures non-existent. Mothers, aunties, judges have often multiple partners, and children often unplanned, a burden, often used, abused, and ultimately discarded.
When you look at our society here, most of the social systems are not functioning. The important function of a family is not there. The community itself, they are not there. Local governments are not functioning. You will find they are very weak. Now, because all those the social systems and the public systems are not functioning, that is the main cause of the sufferings of these girls.
Looming large with HIV/AIDS and high levels of illiteracy, the combination stands to make girls and women in this area vulnerable to exploitation, violence, and abuse. As roughly 50% of the island population is composed of adolescents, usually sexually active as of an early age, often enticed, used, abused, and discarded by the ones that should protect them in the first place.
A good number of those young children, the girls, they are affected because a good number of them, they are being dumped by their parents who comes here for fishing, trading, especially fishing. Their parents, if they happen to fall sick, especially men, they tend not to look after those children simply because at times when you have got your money, you have misused them, you are with women, different women, you fall sick and you don't have energy to go and work, you find yourself you are sick, you are bedridden, the LOC plans for the transport brings you to the hospital, the health center for here, which is the district referral hospital, the health center for. You are dumped here. You don't have anything to eat because you are no longer having energy and to work and get money. Those women they are run off to men who have got their money. You end up your girl children, your boys children being dumped away in the learning sites.
Really find that many young girls leave school early enough they can't continue with their studies. When they get into this kind of environment, they get pregnant early, which is very bad. They get raped and failed.
The lifestyle of a girl child in Kalangala is a bit different from the mainland so far for the years I've been here. Because in Kalangala, the vulnerables are so many in Kalangala district compared to what is on the mainland. Men are raped, men are orphans, many have lost their parents because many parents here are fishermen. Many die of water and then others die of HIV. So majority of the students, especially girls and even boys, they are orphans.
Located in one of the depopulated villages of Kalangala, Mwena is the Ssese Humanitarian Service, Bery'S place, home to over 20 most vulnerable girls that have fallen victim of the unfairness of life. The realities on ground forced Bery, a compassionate and retired Belgian health professional, to start a non-profit organization to rehabilitate, educate, and better the lives of such otherwise doomed.
And I saw many young people dying, and I wondered what I could do to avoid this dying, unnecessary dying. And I talked to them, I talked to their family members, and most of them died because of ignorance, lack of knowledge. And they usually became infected by having a relationship with their first partner without being informed about the necessity to protect themselves or their partner. So, having gained that knowledge, I decided in my next assignments to do something about responsible sexual behavior and sexual education, sexual information in general. We put our efforts together and we decided, okay, let's set up something ourselves and let's see what we can do. At that time I was very naive. I was never in NGO work. I was never in any kind of formal aid work. I did not know that I needed an NGO. I did not know that I needed an organization. I did not know that I needed a legal basis to do all that work. So I came here, I rented this house for a long term. I started to renovate it a little bit to make it livable for me. But then that girl in 2008 called Stella, I call her my alpha woman because she was the #1. And Stella was at that time just finished P7 and needed to go to a secondary school. Now Stella was fearful because people made her fearful. What are you going to do? They live with the Muzungu, work with the Muzungu. So she was fearful, people made her fearful. She came with a friend, Anita, and I call her my beta woman, the second one. So that's how it started, December 2008. And little by little it grew because the Muzungu, that became known, the Muzungu helps girls.
Kubanga twaliwo abaana abangi ewaka. Kweganga ate mama wange yaliwo. First of all, mama wange yali mulwadde nga tasobola tulabirira. Abo abaana abamu kwega kale bazadde baabwe bali abaleesewo obuleesi nga bonna ffenna si yatuzaala. Kati lumu yali ali ku gurupu, waliyo gurupu gyalimu bagiyita Minitaso, Kalangala Minitaso. Kati Bery n'ajja, bwe yajja ne yeeyanjula buli kimu kyakola era nabaga abeereyo Mwena. Kati lwali lumu mama n'atutwalayo n'amusaba atuyambeko. Then bw'atyo n'atutwala twagenda. At first yatwala nze ne Monica, twali babiri ne tugenda. Kati wayitawo akabanga katini n'aleeta ne neesi waffe Martha. Then ne batandika otulabirira.
Bery's young girls are victims of poverty and a non-functional society, who are much more prone and vulnerable to both sexual and emotional abuse. With help of equally committed health and mental health professionals, social workers, community members and leaders at large, he is well able to identify the most suitable candidates for his initiative, a foster home.
Because of my professional experience in regards to post-traumatic care, post-traumatic sexual violence care, also the district brought me kids, LC1s brought me kids, parents brought me kids, the police brought me kids, the probation officer brought me kids with such a history. Yeah, and I'm a person that cannot say no, and little by little my house filled up.
Among his many efforts, he is strongly advocating for girl child empowerment and education at large. At Bery's place, girls are counseled and rehabilitated, then later taken to formal schools to attain a first-class education. With the help of professional volunteers from all over the globe, the girls are well looked after and taken care of.
In Bery's place, we provide care and counseling to these that have been sexually abused, sexually violated. And because of that, I became to children like the Virgin Maria came to Jesus. I'd never intended to do so, it just happened, and I never planned to do so. Right now we are caring internally, residential as well as externally, with about 34 kids which cannot help themselves, but the abuser is often at home, with the kids because of poverty are abandoned at home.
Before I was at home, the life was not all that good, because I could not get enough requirements, school fees were not there, and even care was not there. So even me, when I was at home, I heard that there was an organization helping their children. So what I decided is even me to join it.
So okusinzira ku mbeera kale gye twatubeeramu ewaka, ngeri gye nali mbeera ne step mother wange, so obulamu tebwali bwangu. Naye we nagende wa Bery, kwa like we twalinga tugenda ku somero geno, oba tosasudde waliwo aga government nga oba tosasudde emmere tulya ebyo bityo. Naye kati we nagende wa Bery, ebyo byonna ne bisobola ne bibeera nga biri cleared nga tewali kyesitafuna. Silaakinga kintu kyonna mu bulamu.
Taata wange kati baali banfaako mama, era oyo maama step mother yanjagala mpisanga abaana be, naye baali tebasobola kundabirira bulungi, school fees baali tebasobola nga tebalina na mirimu. Mama wange mulimi ne taata wange mulimi, tebalina ssente bulungi zimpeerera. Kati Bery yasobola okumpeerera bulungi era mpa buli kimu kye musaba.
Bery's place further extends services to the general community, such as sexual health education, safe sex advice and HIV/AIDS prevention at large, as well as post-traumatic care and counseling for these used and abused. Such also is various schools within the Kalangala district.
He's carrying out the counseling, the guidance. He's more of a parent. And even the students we have at our school, their discipline is very okay. Is very okay compared to others who are coming from different learning sites who are not being guided by maybe the guardians or the parents.
We give them the necessary love and care and support. We give them the education they need. We give them everything they need to be able to succeed in life. And we have no cut-off days. We get them in whenever the police or the authorities bring them. We don't select them.
In fact, Bery's work is good. Bery is doing a good work to the children of the island. Abaana singa in fact Bery teyakwata ku baana abo. You never know sanga oba singa ne munsi tebaliimu oba singa tetumanyi gye bandibadde, naye mu butuufu Bery akoze.
Bery musajja mulungi nnyo. He is a caring person. Afaayo, alabirira, abudaabuda. Kale omuntu wa kisa ne bw'aba bakala ku mulirwano banga oli afiiriddwa, gye muntu agira byayanga okwaya amabugo kale ayamba.
Bery's place has not only helped the girls understanding the challenges of life, Bery also trains these girls to sustain their livelihoods in terms of running and managing simple modern homes and by becoming qualified hospitality industry employees, as the Ssese Island's future is related to the tourism industry. His girls do all the day-to-day work of their home, however, mentored by professional caregivers.
We are grooming these kids to be very self-reliant, to be very independent. My kids are 15, 16 years old, the ones which are right now still at home. They can manage their house, they can manage their finances, they have access to money, they have access to my credit cards. They do the accounting, they do the purchasing, they do the management, they're managing themselves. And nobody believes that this is possible, but they're doing it.
Tufumba emmere, etrekinga compound, etusimula enju, etwera oluggya, etwoza ebintu. Kale tukola buli mulimu abaana gye bandibadde bakola.
Kera ku makya ne mbuuza abaana kye baagala okulya. Baba baagala kulya matooke, muceere, kale nga weebityo. Awo nga mpa omwana ssente, abagenda bagula emmere gye twagala okulya, nga tumala nga tutegeka n'eya Bery gy'agenda okulya. Naye olumu tulya ku ya Bery tuliira wamu.
All has not been bread and butter for the German decent, despite his goodwill and good intentions invested in the communities he serves. Some less informed members of the local population and equally poorly informed leaders are not so welcoming and hesitant to accept his open, taboo-overcoming approach.
We talked about family planning. When you talk about family planning, you need to talk about sexuality at large. So that was my initial assignment, and men in general did not want to listen. The older women were interested to listen, but however the older women are not in charge of family planning anymore. Their producing years are over. So kids, of course, and younger women were interested to learn about that, but the problem is I was very naive and I did not know that women are the property of men, so men did not allow me to talk to their women because I would make them too wise, too informed, and they would have a say in their sexuality, in their family planning matters.
Therefore, Bery and the organization has had to battle quite some public relationship and legal challenges.
Not many people are really interested because we are talking about taboos. Nobody was willing and able to talk about that. The district had no funding, did not have the people. And again, everybody had funding for a curative approach in regards to AIDS at that time, but no prevention. There was no funding for that, nor qualified people to do so. Because of the cultural problems, challenges, taboos, it was very difficult to talk in general for East Africans or Africans, Sub-Saharan Africans, about sexuality at large.
He, however, fights and is not about to give up on his mission of having a community where children, adolescents, women and men live a healthy, meaningful and dignifying life, ultimately making a difference where others fail to do so.
I will be carrying on until death does us part. So this is my home. I love this country. This is a beautiful place. I would say if there wouldn't be this poverty issue, if there wouldn't be this HIV issue, this would definitely be a paradise and the pearl of Africa, gifted by nature. And it's a fact. It's a wonderful place, wonderful people, and a wonderful country. And if I'm allowed to be here, I would love to stay here until the end of my days. And hopefully in between time I can add some value to this kid's life. And one day maybe I can find someone that takes over. Maybe my kids themselves take over from what we have left to them. We build the foundation and they continue to build this organization. That's what we are grooming them for. That's what we hope to do one day. Continue to create change in their own country.
Bery has brought back happiness and long-gone smiles to their faces. They believe one day they will make it to the world. The Kalangala district, a better place for all to live in.
And I hope to become a doctor or a lawyer in the future.
njagala nange bwe mba nkuze nga nfunye ssente mukama wanaaba abiterezeza nawe nkole something like an orphanage bye nsobola okupeyinga in return kye bankoledde ekyo.